Namaste, this is JVN Dr. Vishal Saxena, Associate Professor in Mathematics and Statistics in Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Today I am going to discuss on the module of practice of the chi-square test. This session is a part of the course Biostatistics under the program of MSc NND, MSc Microbiology, MSc FST and MSc Biotechnology, first semester of the university. As all we know that the chi-square test is an important part of the hypothesis testing, and by this just we can compare, we can find our observed frequency, observed sample distribution with the probability, with the expected probability distribution. So we can compare them, and this chi-square test is important and important part of the biostatistics and even the research methodology, because in the high studies, in the research purpose, just when we have to compare our result, we have to find our result, whether the results are true or not, then we have to apply our some tests, and by these tests we can check our obtained results, our obtained observed values, whether are right, means true or not, or they can be accepted or not. So these tests like the chi-square test and the t-distribution test, ANOVA, normal distribution tests, are very important, and they will be helpful for us for such kind of questions that arises in the in the research, and for the different kind of questions when they arises for accepting or rejecting the results obtained by our experiments or by the surveys. So the chi-square test, as all we know that just we have discussed already, the chi-square test is is applicable to determine that whether there is a significant difference between the observed and the expected frequencies of the one or more categories in the contingency table. In simple words, we can understand like chi-square test will be can be used to to find the significant difference between the observed and the expected data. And the chi-square test can be is divided into three parts. One is the chi-square test of goodness of fit, the second is the chi-square test of independence, and then the third test which is known as the chi-square test of the homogeneity. So these three tests are applicable in the different conditions, and they can be used for different purposes. Like the first chi-square test means the chi-square test for the goodness of fit test is applicable to to determine the significance difference between our observed statistical distribution with the expected probability distribution, and the test of independence. The chi-square test of independence will provide us the association between the two variables, and the two categorical variables have been taken from the single population. So whether they are whether these categorical variables are independent or not, and with the third chi-square test of homogeneity, that will just provide us the whether the frequencies are whether the frequencies of the observed data are uniformly distributed or not for different populations. So in this way, the three kind of chi-square tests are applicable for the different kind of like purposes, and we take some problems to discuss these different tests to understand in more better way. And we are just sharing some slides today. We are sharing some examples today for this. In the first example, we are given that suppose that we have a random sample of 600 M and MS candies with the following distribution. So in this question we have a simple random sample of the 600 M and MS candies with the following distribution. 212 of the candies are blue, 147 are orange, 103 are green, 50 are red, 46 are yellow, and 42 are brown. So this is a kind of the question of the goodness of fit test, means the first test of the chi-square test. And in this way, just we are given that the simple random sample of 600 M and MS candies given that. So in the null hypothesis, if the null hypothesis were true, then the expected counts for each of these colors would be, so it means when the null hypothesis can be taken true, then the expected counts for each of these colors would be given by 600 into 1 upon 6, because we are having here the 6 different observations. So 600 upon 6 means the 100, and that is like the expected counts for each of these colors. Now we use this in our calculation for the chi-square statistic, and we now discuss about the chi-square statistic. So we calculate the contribution to our statistic chi-square from each of the colors and each of the form. So the chi-square is given by the actual means actual value means observed value minus the expected value whole square upon expected value whole square. So that is the value of the chi-square statistic, and it is given like by the formula O minus E whole square upon E. So we will find the value of chi-square for every different color. Like we are given some the values, we are given that the values like 212, 147, 103, and then so on. So these are the observed frequencies, while we have just we have calculated 100 as the expected frequency. So we will find the value of chi-square for the blue color, and this is 212 minus 100 whole square upon 100, which is equal to 125.44. Now next is the chi-square for the orange color, that is given by 147 minus 100 whole square upon 100, and that is 22.09. In this way we have to find the value of chi-square for every different color. And now we have to find the value of chi-square, the total chi-square value, and which is addition of all these values, and that becomes 235.42. So the value of the sum of the chi-square values is 235.42, and the number of degrees of freedom for the goodness of fit test is simply, as all we know that what will be the value of the degree of freedom here, that is 6 minus 1, that is 5. So 5 is the degree of freedom, and for this Microsoft Excel can be used for the calculation. We find that our test statistic with the 5 degree of freedom has a p-value. So p-value for this 5 degree of freedom is 7.29 into 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 49. So that is the p-value for this 5 degree of freedom, and that can be just obtained by the using Excel software. So that is 7.29 into 10 to the power minus 49. Now we can see this is the value and this is the p-value, while we have found our observed value, and which is coming there 235.42. so this is the observed value, and the p-value is showing that the expected value, that is a theoretical value. In this way we make our decision on whether to reject the null hypothesis based on the size of the p-value. Since we have a very minuscule p-value, we reject the null hypothesis. As all we know that the condition of the rejection of the null hypothesis is that when the observed frequency is greater than the expected frequency, is the expected value. So it means because the observed value is the observed value is 235.42, while the p-value, which is showing that the theoretical value is 7.29 into 10 to the power minus 49. Therefore the observed value is greater than to this p-value, theoretical value. Therefore definitely the null hypothesis will be rejected, and the alternative hypothesis will be accepted. In this way, what is our conclusion? We conclude that M and MS are not evenly distributed among the 6 different colors. So it means the M and MS candies are not evenly distributed among the 6 different colors. So these are just distributed not uniformly. That is our conclusion. Now one more question is given that the following table gives the classification of 100 workers according to sex and the nature of the work. Test whether nature of work is independent of the sex of the worker. So in this table we are given that the gender means sex of the workers, like males and females, and their nature of the work means whether they are skilled or unskilled. So we have given that a kind of table between gender and their skillness of the workers. So according to this question we have to check, we have to test whether the nature of work is independent of the sex of the worker, means their gender or not. So in this way just we have to make a contingency table, and we have to find our expected frequencies, because observed frequencies are already given that like 40, 20, 10 and 30. These are the observed frequencies, but the expected frequencies can be just calculated by the usual method, and we can see that these are 16 to 50 upon 100, 16 to 50 upon 100, and 40 into 50 upon 100, and 50 into 40 upon 100. So these expected frequencies, these expected values are obtained as 30, 30, 20, 20. And now we have to find the value of chi-square statistic, that is the given by like observed value minus expected value whole square upon expected value. So by the table we can see the given table is showing the observed values, and just this contingency table which we have formed it showing that the expected values. So putting the values in this formula for the chi-square, and finally the value of chi-square will be obtained as 16.67, and the degree of freedom for this problem can be taken as 2 minus 1 into 3 minus 2 minus 1 into 2 minus 1, and this equal to 1, because 2 minus 1 and 2 minus 1 is taken as there are 2 rows and 2 columns. Therefore it becomes, the degree of freedom becomes 1, and for this 1 degree of freedom, and at the 5% 5 level of significance, 5% level of significance, the value of chi-square means the theoretical value is taken as 3.841. That is the theoretical value, and while the chi-square value as observed value is 16.67. Again we can observe that the calculated or the observed value of chi-square is greater than to expected value 3.841. Hence the null hypothesis is rejected, and it means the null hypothesis is rejected. Therefore, we conclude that the nature of work and sex of worker are not independent, means they are dependent. So in the today's session we have discussed about some problems of chi-square test for different types, and students are advised to just practice for more questions. With this I am concluding my today's session. Thank you.